Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's session. Now, for today, we are going to discuss about selection structure in Java. Okay, as we all know, even our daily life or in our life, part of our daily routine is to make decisions like the decision to wake up early in the morning and get out of your bed and do something what you want to do. So that's actually a decision. Okay. So what we have been doing so far in our program previously are just sequences or sequence of instructions, which is our compiler is going to only read the codes from top to bottom in that manner, or it's just a sequence of instructions. Now for today, um, we are going to create a program that is going to be our compiler is now has this it doesn't have to read all the codes from top to bottom because there are only certain portion of our codes or our program that are being read or that is read by our compiler depending on a certain uh, block of statement. Now, if there is like a statement that is going to be evaluated to true by our compiler, then that would mean that block of statement will be executed or read by our compiler. If it's not, then it will just disregard it and try to do something except for that. So that's actually selection structure, and one way to do that is writing if conditions. As we all know, we have been surrounded with if statements, with decisions in our lives, and the decision to choose whom do you want to marry, if the decision you want to, uh, if you wanna go hang out with your friends, the decision to eat, no, those things that we can you can do as part of your life is what also you can do in a programming. Now there, if ever you will not do it because you don't decide, you decide to not do it or do it, there is always a consequence either way around. So yeah, that's the decision. And as part of a program that has decision, it's something that you can actually Mm, it makes your programs becomes a little bit smarter because it's now able to give a a way to decide on its own, no? A basic artificial intelligence. Like for an instance, if the user choose a particular color and then you like your favorite color, and then you will display that if let's say for an instance you want to ask the user to guess your favorite color, and then if he enters the a certain color and that is not your favorite color, you can actually tell that person or that user that is not your favorite color, or something like age, that to determine whether an age is minor or major. No, it's minor, or it's like minor or an adult already, or and to determine either a number is odd or even, or if it's positive or negative, so something things like that. So right here we are now going to create a uh, yeah, so selection structure. So let's say we have selection. Okay, selection na lang. Okay, you have here selection structure. So for this, I'm going to give you an idea or run through each of the selection structure in Java. Okay, let's start with number one. Okay, the one way if or two one way or single if. Okay, as we all know from the word itself, one way or single if, it's actually an expression or a statement that has only one, or it has only one and only one single pa only one statement or only one if block. So, for instance, we wanna determine the age if an age is an adult or not, or a minor. Let's say we have here an age. Okay, so whatever, let's say, let's assume that the age is input, and let's just assign any value for our age, and then we can now say if age, sorry, if age is less than, or less than, let's say less than 18, and then you tell the user that this age is a minor. You are, let's say you are a minor. So anything that falls under 18 will be a minor. So if that's the case, yeah, so let's say we are going to input a value, let's say, uh, if you're going to use the GUI, the G option pane, you can do that. Okay. So new system that, sorry, new scanner. Okay, let's import this one. Then system that in that next event. Hmm. Okay, so assuming you have here, yeah, we are going to input a value, let's say uh, 12 or 13. So you are a minor. If ever you are going to enter, let's say 21, of course, it will not give you anything because we only have one way if. We only use one way if or single if. Now, if you are going to ask me where can you particularly use this or apply this in your program, there are all there are at the times that you will actually use the single if. Now, so yeah, basta, there's always a time that you are going to use only single if, but it's just it's so rare to have this kind of like program. Most of the time we most of the time our program has multiple ifs, and or probably two-way if, or multi or multiple ifs. Yes, okay. So that's one way if. It means it's always if this block is going to be evaluated as like true, then therefore it will execute the block after that. Then if it's not, then if it's not, then it will not do anything as a consequence. Okay, so let's now have a two-way if. Now in two-way if, you have, let's say, okay, this is, so let's make this as our method. So one way if. Okay, right. Okay, and then let's so this time let's have the number two, which is two-way if. So when we talk about two-way if, it's going to be it has normally it has, I mean, usually when we say two-way if, it has basically an else statement. So this is actually a two-way if. So you have the first block of an if statement. If this is true, then it will display this. And once this one is false, then it will directly go to else statement. So you are a minor, then this one you are probably an adult. You are an adult. So that's this one is for two-way if. Okay, so let's input. So let's say we have 21 earlier or recently when we entered 21 kanina using only one way if, where the program doesn't have any output, but this time it has now an output saying that you are now part or you are now an adult. Okay, that's for one way or two way. That's for two-way if. Okay, sige, as very simple. Okay, so let's have this one. Uh, Again, make this as a method. So you don't have to do that here. So I just would like to put it right here. Two-way if, and then okay, what happened? So so sobra siya. Okay. Yeah, so we have here. Okay. Yeah. So this is the main. So this is the one-way if, and let's have here two-way if. Ah, yeah. So we lacked one terminator right there. Anyway, okay, that's for two-way if. Another is we have um, multiple if. Okay, the things that I have just discussed today, or I am discussing today, are just concepts again. So at least you have name, you are now able to name names in which like no at least oh that can you can say now that that application is or that program or that's an algo for that is actually one way if only, an algo for that is two-way if only. At least you can name names with regards to whatever solution is going to be applied or is going to be uh like is going to answer or address that a certain problem. Okay, so now let's have multiple if as the third one. In the multiple if, in one way if there's only one if. In two-way if there's if and else only. But in two-way if you can have like more than different if statements. So yeah, so when it comes to multiple if, it's like the thing here is you have another else if. Okay, let's say we wanna include the negative values like probably not uh, probably not yet born, or let's say not yet born, a fetus, no? Okay, anything you do, anything you just put in here. Okay, and then after that, if it's less than 18, you are a minor, and then other more than that, it will you the that age belongs to an 18. So yeah, I mean belongs to an adult. And you can also there's this what we called minor, adult, and senior. No, so let's say for an instance, you have here. mm, in excluding the 60, so more than 60 would be now so this is adult, though adult, but specifically more than 60 are belong to a citizen or senior citizen. You are a senior, you are an adult. Okay, so this is an example of multiple if. You can actually put as much as if as you can depending on what you wanna do, what you wanna decide for your program. So for this, you have now three different if blocks plus else statement. So let's say for an instance, you have 25 there, you are an adult, and then let's say 65, you are senior. Okay, so any age more than 60 is now considered as like senior. So that's multiple if. Okay, so another one is compound if. So let's copy paste muna this one, and then okay, let's paste it right here. Void multiple if. Let's yeah. So another one is compound statement. So compound if statement. So when we talk about compound if statement, it's a it's a statement where your if has multiple uh, statements. It could be either a nested if, but let's reserve the nested if later on or our discussion. But most likely, nested if is something that is compound. It's always a compound statement. Okay. Now, for compound statement, it's one block has more multiple or has multiple number of statements. That's actually the definition of compound if. It's like in a grammar or English grammar, you have two subjects. Okay, you have two subjects in a sentence. So that makes a statement a compound sentence. Okay, so in the same way manner, that's the same thing here. So you have, let's say for an instance, you wanna uh, do a certain like calculation in this particular uh, here, no? You wanna do something like calculation. Let's say age is equal to age plus plus 5. You just want to include, though not related, but okay, you can have that. And then here you can uh, let's say here you are a minor, you are not allowed to go to mall because of the pandemic. Yan. So we have else if else if. Now as you can see or as you can observe in compound statement, we are now explicitly using, or clearly, I mean, it's observable that you now get to use this curly brace. And if you are not going to actually use curly brace in that block, it will actually give you an error. So the Java, the compiler recognize it as an error because it's going to be, it has to be grouped, it has to group these two blocks right here, which are compound statements, and then it's expected to group them together. It's like that. Okay, so that's why in if condition or in else if whatsoever, if ever you have two compound statements inside of that block, make sure to use the curly braces. But if in the case or in the event that you don't actually you don't put a two statements, you just include one statement right there, you don't have to actually use this one. But for now, I would like to actually recommend you that for in Java, it would be better if you actually uh, uh, do this. Now there is this exclusivity within this particular block. So it's like a scenario where there in our country in Canada. Okay, so make a think of this way as like what's what's coral? It's a wall that separates you from your neighbor, no? So let's say for an instance, this one is a wall that separates you from your neighbor. The thing there is, if you don't have a wall in between with you, is that, let's say for an instance, you have there in our country in Canada, we have a house there. So hey, yeah, let's say for an instance, you have two house, you have your house is in a nearby, you have your neighbor nearby, and a neighbor, you have your neighbor there, and then there's no anything that separates you, and then you only have this one tree. Okay, you only have this one tree uh, in the middle of your houses, and then let's say, mm, who's going to have an ownership of that tree, particularly if that tree is valuable. Let's say for let's say, let's assume that tree is an apple tree, an apple tree that see, let's say it's an apple tree, and then since it's not an apple season, so literally wala pa siya bunga, okay? So after wala pa bunga, therefore leaves will just fall on the ground. So and then let's say kamo nagtanom ato, but in that event it's going to be, the leaves are going to also, I mean, maadto po siya dito sa imong neighbor, and then eventually that neighbor will get angry on you because it's your tree and it's your responsibility to to clean the mess, or to clean the say tawagan na, the falling leaves of that tree, now your apple tree. So magyaw-yaw siya, and then eventually kasuhan ka, abot yun sa kaso, matulfo ka. And then just because of that, no, anyway, a simple problem, simple scenario na, which is because you don't have that like ownership to, na kinsa na, it's for now, moingon siya na it's your responsibility because you planted, you planted in your there in your backyard, but in the sense that naa siya sa tunga-tunga, so nagyaw-yaw siya because dahon ay dahon ato sa ilaha. Now here comes apple na unsa na, ting apple na, no, apple season na in the country. So ting apple na season, namunga na siya, and here comes your tree, bear fruits already. So namunga na siya og kapayas, ay namunga na siya og apple. Okay, so what, now na namunga na siya, not this time, not only the leaves are going to be, dili lang ang dahon na ang ma-fall dito sa ilaha. So including na ang bunga sa apple. So of course for them it's a blessing. So dati wa siya nagyaw-yaw, na leaves lang ang mo adto sa ilaha. Karon di, nagyaw-yaw siya, but karon di siya magyaw-yaw na ang including na an apple will also be fell, no? So now in that sense, wala na siya nag-question kinsa ng ownership, sa kinsay owner ana, kinsa who plants it, basta ang iya is he or she has the blessing na naay fruit maadto sa ila. So of course what you will do is you will have to have a parang sana sa Bisaya, kural, no? It's kural or gate. Butang kag gate dira, or magbuta kag wall that separates that, but it's since it's in the middle, I don't know how you will do it, but it's like, sige, at the center siya, and then i-cement nimo siya, and then diha ang tree, and then what you will do is, para since nagyaw-yaw man siya na, it's leaves pa to sa una, karon na naa siya, nanay apple na matagak dito sa ilaha, happy siya, wala siya yaw-yaw. So all you just need to do, kay since para tabla, ibtangan nimo siya og kuan, butangan nimo siya og net dito all throughout, dili, at least kung naay apple matagak, padulong gyapon sa imuha. Anyway, what's the moral story there is, what I'm trying to elaborate here is that if there is actually a parang ang gate, no, if there's actually gate, there's a sense of ownership that is yours, no. So let's say for an instance, this one, so let's say this is the first house, this is the other house. So meaning what the things that's in the backyard, inside or in between sa gate, or sa inyong sa diha inyong yeah, sa gate, it's all yours, it's your ownership. So that's all yours, and then other two is here ihapon na. So there's this what we call exclusivity, no, exclusive lang to sa ilaha. So meaning this one is also is only exclusive in this block, this one is only exclusive in this block, and that's very important in Java programming. In fact, in most programming language. So that's very important to indicate whether which this statement is part of which block statement. So that's actually the essence of having this one. Okay, so that's why Java loves us to include the curly braces. Okay, so for readability and for like simplicity of our program. So again, that is compound if statement. Okay, so there is this grouping of elements or grouping of block statements, grouping of blocks per grouping of statement per blocks. Okay, so that's compound if, and actually compound if is mostly applied to nested if, which is the next structure is nested if. So nested if is an if within an if. Okay, so most likely it's something that inside of this if statement, age is less than 0. Let's say uh, you wanna include the like let's say it's less than 0. Okay, then here it's going to be that all everything that falls under the age of 18 but not less than 0 are all minors, and you want to, let's say, also include that in this specific age, if ever the age will fall in the if ever the age will fall in under 5, this is like, is it toddler ba siya? So let's say this it is um, childhood na lang na, childhood. So ibutan na nato, this is like the part of me I don't want it. So let's say this is like 10. Yeah. So less than 10, including, I don't know if it's included ang 10. So let's say like that. And then after that, we are going to also uh, do another statement or another condition inside of this block right here. And then let's say we have here until, let's say 17. Yeah, so including 17. So all age under 18 are considered minor. But if you want to extract some like more, like this one, that you want to, let's say, to determine if it's childhood or teenager already. Ah, teenager. Okay, so it's going to be the including 17 going to 11. That's teenager. And then for less than 10 to less than for less than 10 to 1, it's going to be childhood, or I don't I'm not certain, but that's how the way it is. Okay, and you can keep on doing and doing and doing, like middle adult, young adult, before you say it's an adult, but you want to categorize them as young adult and middle adult. Let's say young adult is up to 33, and then middle adult is 34 and up to 45, and then for adult, late adulthood, it's going to be 45 to ano. So you can also do the same thing like here. Okay, so that's for nested if. Actually, nested if is mostly up this is always the case in case of, this is always the case in most complex programming. Okay, uh, all right, so right here, I would like to end my discussion with this one. Let's say, for an instance, if this is, especially if this is JOption pane or GUI, it would be better if you like use third-party variable in which you just have to, you know, make use of like hold. Okay, and then here, okay, here a minor, and then also with this one, hmm, you can have plus, and let's say and a child and in and belong you are a minor and belong to childhood, something like that. Well, you can actually directly go instead of having else if yeah, I mean what you can actually directly go have a condition here, let's say 18, and then hold is equal, you are a minor and belong to childhood instead of having nested if right here. But for the purpose again of our if statement, I mean for nested if, that's why I do it. But then again, you can just like do this. Wait for an instance. You can just like do this. Let's say for an instance 10, and then this is like yeah, and then you want to for below 18, 17 and below up to 11 is you are going to also include that, so another else if. But again, for the purpose of nested if, that's why I do it that way. So ayan, and then right here you are also going to, so there is this plus sign, meaning it's concatenation operator that would actually concatenate you are a minor and belong to a teenager, just in case if a teenager is like ages less than 17 and then not less than up to not less than 10, so from 11 to 17. And the same thing right here. So for this, since you don't have a a couple of statements, you can just you don't have to concatenate them. So in that sense, you can now use syso or J option pane just once. Okay, so you don't do it. I mean, this is a better way than that of earlier of what we did earlier. A couple of statements inside of each block. Okay, it would be better if you do this way. Born this way, away. Okay, so let's say for an instance you have 16, so you're a minor and belong to teenager. Let's say you have 20, so you are an adult, so you don't have anything there as I've said earlier, young adult, middle adult, or late adult, or whatever. So yeah, that's the purpose of nested if actually in our program, and we will do a lot of this in the future. Okay, see. All right, so I guess we call it a day. Thank you guys for joining in. Have a great day. See you guys in our next session. Bye bye.